questions.
Time for us to say a very good morning to Mr. Nico Kleynhans. Thank you for your time, sir.
Good morning to you and also to the listeners.
Mistakes is something that we all make, and some are costly and some are less we can laugh at.
And some are just plain stupid, as you say.
True story.
The company that provides me with funeral cover sent me an email the other day. They've got some good news for me.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. If I fall pregnant
What?
and I die while giving birth,
Oh, wow.
they will double my life cover
Amazing.
for my family.
That is crazy.
Now, I began to reflect. I can't work out how many guys my age ever find themselves
in that position.
in a maternity ward giving birth to
a child.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not possible.
And to
That'll
then
go
wonder,
down in
with
history.
all the sophisticated technology we have and the ability to program your emails to your customers,
Exactly.
why somebody obviously hired a relative to put together this email to send out so that this particular person could get some pocket money.
Yeah.
But it was a mistake. I'm
Definitely.
sure they would have fixed it by now. I can't be the only old man who got back to them and said, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
And
Can you please revise?
at least stop insulting people. What are you going to send to the woman? You're going to send this thing about prostate cancer?
Exactly.
You know,
Come
you kind
on.
of got to think. You've got to be a little more sensitive.
Exactly.
But this also then triggered when a client contacted me and said they want to buy a motor car. Now, that's a minefield, because in your life, you're going to spend more than R1 million on motor cars.
Scary.
So you kind of got to get that right. And I gave them a couple of steps they have to follow. And I thought it would be good for you, the listeners, to try and work out, when you last bought a motor car, how many of these steps you followed, so that you possibly could avoid making some of the mistakes that a person typically makes. The first step I asked them to do was to find out from their bank what possible amount of money they would qualify for when they went shopping for their motor car. Now, that's just to stop you from looking at all the cars and then finding the bank says no to what you wanted because it's 10,000 more than they are prepared to trust you. So the first question I had to find out, how much are you prepared to lend me? And secondly, what interest rate are you prepared to give me? So they did that, and so they knew their credit record was clean. This is the kind of money, and then they went shopping. Now, you get two kinds of car dealers. You get nice dealers, and you get car dealers that are not so nice. And they will then come up with a deal based on the motor car that you want. And I always tell my client, get the specifics in writing. Then we talk about it before you agree to anything. So they came up with the following proposal that the dealer had, that the term of the car purchase was going to be 72 months. So this was a car that they looked at that was already a year old. Now they were going to pay on this car for another 6 years. To make the car deal sound wonderful, he said you don't have to put a deposit down, but there will be a residual of 20%, which meant at the end of the deal, the car is 6 years old, and you're still going to owe 87,000 rand on the car.
Ouch.
And you've now got to sell that car and hope you're going to get more than 87,000 rand. Otherwise, you're going to owe on the first car when you want to buy the second car. So I said, now that's the deal you've got. Now let's break this down and see what the options are. Your car got stolen. That's why you're buying another one. And you've got 90,000 rand. This dealer's put together a plan, there's no deposit. Why don't you put the 90,000 rand as a deposit? Then why don't you tell him the term mustn't be 72 months, the term must be 60 months. And then tell him not to put a residual value on at all. Now, if you do it that way, your monthly repayments, in spite of cutting the term, drops by 1,300 rand a month. So that's the first benefit for you.
Massive benefit.
The second benefit is the bank loses 140,000 rand because you've reduced the term and you've put a deposit down.
Makes sense.
And that 140,000 rand makes a big difference for you over the term of that loan. So that helps. The third benefit that you have to consider is that when you take out car insurance, you must insist that if the car gets stolen or if the car has an accident, that the insurance company is going to provide you with a car similar to what's been lost or stolen or in for repairs. So if you're buying an automatic car, that they will pay for a rented car that's automatic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to give you one of these cars that's so big that you have to roll down the window, hang your leg outside so you can fit in the car.
Exactly.
I've been caught like that.
Me too.
So by doing it that way around, he's going to avoid most of the mistakes. He's going to save 140,000 rand potential on the deal, and he's going to have a much better benefit. And having learned the lesson for the next 3 or 4 cars, which he will be buying in his life, he's learned an important lesson, and he's avoided some of the mistakes that people make that can really cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the amazing thing. I was having a conversation with somebody and just saying, you know, my car is, in my eyes, the best car because I do not owe a cent on that car. Yes, it's old. It's a 2015 model, I think, but it still goes. And I service it regularly and I look after it as best as I can.
Yeah.
And there are a few things here and there, but it goes. It starts every time I turn the key and it takes me to where I need to get safely.
I think that's important. Also, when I bought my car, I insisted that the motor plan be extended for 5 years, not for the normal 3 years. And within a year, my car needed the brake pads changed. And those came to 6,000 rand. Now, had I not taken the extended warranty on this thing, I would have had to have paid 6,000 rand. And to cover my car for the full 5 years cost 20,000. So, I mean, there are a lot of things you need to do at the negotiation stage.
Yeah.
But often you're so grateful that somebody said yes, that you don't look at what the experience is going to be.
Yeah. And then living in Cape Town, I know of a number of people who have opted for not buying a vehicle, making use of public transport like the MyCity buses, the Golden Arrow buses, and similar. And then if not that, then the e-hailing services, you know, for when you've got those unique destinations that are not on those routes. And they were actually saying to me the amount of money that they're saving, because number one, they're not repaying a car. Number two, they don't have to worry about car services. Number three, there's no insurance costs and things like that. And then, of course, the whole thing of parking. You know, if you're somebody who works in the CBD, parking is a nightmare. But if you're using the MyCity bus service, then you don't have to worry.
Well, I've got an intern who's left a year ago, and she's a nerd like me. And she worked out that if she took that option, she would save just on 50,000 rand over a 2-year period.
What?
And that's going to be the deposit on the house.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And so I was glad that she'd learned how to play around with figures. And that's going to be a better benefit for her.
Exactly. Nico Kleynhans, thank you so much for your time and for giving us a lot to think about. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. And I mean, that extra money can definitely go a long way. I like the thing of putting down a deposit on a home because that can make a big difference long term as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Nico.